Hi, this is Jillian Angelon with Military Times Reboot Camp. We're here with combat veteran husband and wife team Adam and Susan. We've got them with Silent Professionals. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do. I know that you work in a niche market of helping job candidates who may be getting out of the military but who have combat arms MOSs.
Right. So Silent Professionals is a job board in the private military, private security, executive protection, and security guard spaces. It has a very niche focus on very specific jobs. Most of the jobs are OCONUS. A few of the executive protection jobs are CONUS.
Where I come into play is how do we scale this? Because our whole goal is to get as many combat veterans jobs as possible and get high quality people through. So, there's two parts of this. One is getting the numbers through, the number of veterans that are looking for work that are, have great experiences under their belt. They're, solid people, and they're just not effectively or efficiently getting connected with the employers for their skill sets. So there's the numbers, and then the other piece is the quality.
Primarily what we're looking for are combat MOS type of soldiers and Marines and anybody who comes from any kind of special ops background. That's who is really going to fit this niche kind of industry extremely well. Now there are offshoots of that as well. In terms of jobs, there's a lot of jobs that are in the medical field, in the intel field, canine dog handlers, corporate roles like within the private military companies themselves.
We started this back in October, so it's only been probably about 9 months now. We've employed more than 1,200 people, and that number grows constantly every single day.
Less than a year.
In less than a year since we even just started the concept. And I'm talking about placement. And I think that's an extraordinary number considering, that this is really a passion project for us. And we're able to do that because we have a candidate intake form on our website. So there's two ways that people can kind of apply. They can come to the website, they can look at the jobs, see if they qualify and actually apply for those jobs. The other thing that a candidate can do is say, well, I'm going to fill out a candidate intake form, and it's a more in-depth form. It asks you a question at a time going into your background. Do you have a clearance? What was your MOS? How many months in combat do you have total? Do you have, are you a designated defensive marksman? Are you EMT, certified?
Tell me, what kind of impact has it made to you?
Part of creating this was understanding how difficult the transition process is. Coming out of the military or coming out of the private military sector, coming out of the wars in general, trying to figure out what you want to do. If you come from a combat arms MOS, it's like, okay, well, what skills do I have? How can I use my previous skills from a previous life and transition that into a career into the civilian sector? So, really how that transitions is the private military space.
We're saying these clusters of data make this person far more attractive to an employer than another, and that's what our candidate questionnaire is actually based on. If we're asking for a language, it's because language oftentimes, if you have two equal candidates, especially let's say it's an executive protection job, if you have two equal candidates and one speaks a foreign language and one doesn't, they're probably going to choose that foreign language candidate.
We are their direct link to the employers. So the employers trust us, they trust what we say, they trust our vetting process. So we are their advocate to the employers. And we have reviews, from candidates who are like, wow, well, I've been rejected for this exact same position by the employer in the past, but you guys are able to get us pushed through. So, and I think it's because we really know how to speak the language. Because of our, previous experience.
If they're interested in looking at your website, applying, you want them to shorten their resumes to, a page or two, right?
As far as we're concerned, as long as you're filling out the candidate intake form, that's really the core where we start. And then from there, we'll, kind of sift through your resume. But yeah, if you can shorten your resume, one page, 3 pages maybe max.
To be able to utilize a free service and a company with people that have experience in the field who are going to represent you, that's kind of a kind of an uplifting I think experience.
Telling somebody that you need to find a new job is one thing, and that's a hard transition. But if you're able to take what you did before and find a really meaningful and useful and needed job, afterwards, I think that's the ultimate satisfaction.
Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to check out rebootcamp.militarytimes.com for more stories to help veterans transition to civilian life. This is Jillian Angeline reporting.